Tip number 6, figure out the color, interior and exterior, and possibly make a field trip to your nearest Tesla dealer. And the reason why I say that is the cars look different in person than they do on the website. You'll notice that on the website you have the ability to see it at three-quarters view. You can kind of look at the wheels and the side view, and then you can look at the interior, but it really doesn't give you that panoramic view. BMW's done a great job about this in previous years of being able to actually turn and look at kind of the entire car. They used to have the same thing for the interior, but at least they have two views of the interior. And the reason why I mention that is you may notice in this picture that I've chosen the premium seats. Yep, it has the little perforations, and the carbon fiber. It wasn't until I was there in the showroom and they actually took me into the back to see a car that was set up with the dark interior, light head, and the carbon fiber that everything just came together and just worked. I recommend fully that you go in and you look at the cars with the color schemes, interior and exterior, that you're really looking at. I wouldn't order something directly online. This is a great way to place your order, but not a great way to design your car. Touch, feel, look, it's going to look a little bit different in light. So that's just my recommendation. Figure out your interior and exterior, but do that in person. Tip number 7, plan your electric service. So electric service planning is huge. It's going to need a lot of heads up timing and some planning as the shipping cycles go from 2 months to shipping your Tesla X to maybe a month. You're going to have less and less time to do this. If you read everything that they send to you, they say, start on this now. I will reinforce this and say, start on that now. As soon as you've placed your order, the 7 days have passed, you've accepted your final order, figure out what you're going to have installed. And the reason I say that is, if you remember earlier, I did the wall charger with a 80 amp or 100 amp circuit, but 80 amp charging. You'll notice that if I go to installation, it doesn't mention everything that needs to be done in order to support that. Well, here's a couple things. One, if you want to do a 100 amp charger, one, you have to have room in your electrical box in order to do a 100 amp circuit. Two, you need to have enough amperage left over in your service that's coming from the electrical company into your house. If there's not, they may have to put in an entire another box. So 3, you have to decide where you're going to put it. I would go with a longer, I think it's 24-foot charging cord on your wall charger if you choose to do that. And adding electrical service, another box to, because you don't maybe have a big enough service, that's probably going to cost you about $1,000 or more. Adding the wall charger in the 100 amp circuit after you get the upgraded service, if you need to, that's probably going to cost you between $500 and $1,500 depending on your local installer. So you're looking at between a $500 and $2,500 bill for prepping your garage for the electrical system. And you don't want to get delivery of your car and not have a way to charge it. I did that for a day, and believe me, it was horrible. Trying to find a charger nearby, and it wasn't nearly as great as the charger I had installed in my garage. So that's a little bit of a heads up. Oh, one last thing about this. Order your wall charger early. Currently, or there was when I was ordering it, it was a 3 to 4 week backlog. That means 3 to 4 weeks when you place your order to the time that you get it. That means your electrician needs to you need to have it before you can have the electrician really run and do your entire electrical system. So lots of little planning items that you need to do. All right, tip 8. Tip 8 is plan for your deposit. You can see right here the deposit is going to be about a $2,500 charge. I think that's the standard charge that they have every time you place your order. For us, it wasn't an issue. We had actually planned previously, but if you're not, if you're going in, you want to place your order or it's an impulse buy, you're going to need to have either in cash or on debit or on a credit card, $2,500 floating around, and you're not going to get that back. That's going to be rolled over into your closing statement, as this kind of is, and then the financing is going to cover the rest. But that order or that deposit is going to need to be planned for if you don't just happen to have $2,500 cash sitting in a bank account or available on a credit card. Some of you do, some of you don't, but it's a very important thing to just realize. Tip number 9, figure out if that P and Ludicrous are worth it. There's a couple of quotes in one of the previous postings that it's a very expensive party favor. It kind of is. If you read different articles, some say that it needs to spend some time before you can use it again, maybe 30 minutes. Batteries heat up. If you go with the Ludicrous model, I believe the range is slightly lower. So there's a bunch of balances out with, whether you go just 90D or the P90D Ludicrous. I looked at it as a very expensive $30,000 extra fee. Believe me, I have the 90D. Hitting the accelerator still floors you to the back of the seat. It is all torque. And the last tip that I have is research and develop your own checklist. And I would say your own checklist party. That sounds a little bit different, but let me explain the two pieces. So you'll see here that I've actually shared out down in the description below a downloadable OneNote checklist for Tesla Model X. This is based on the Tesla Motor Club. There is a PDF. I converted the PDF into a OneNote and then started adding things that I found that I needed to bring based on comments. I read additional forum postings and put those in with who contributed them. And the reason I say a party is you probably want to take that checklist and share it out to other people. I shared it out to my 3 kids, my wife, and myself, and all 5 of us worked off the same checklist in OneNote to go through. This breaking up the checklist allowed us to cover the car in a very short amount of time. If you were to probably go through this all end to end, it would probably take you a couple hours just to go through the checklist. So that may actually be an interesting future episode, is how long does the checklist take? But develop your own checklist and make sure that you don't forget anything when you're looking through it. Just a little quick summary of, I found 3 issues on my car during delivery and 2 issues after I took delivery. So you definitely want to do the checklist. The quality is much better. They're very minor issues. They're fixable, but it's one of those things of, it's better and you feel a lot better having a plan going in instead of just hoping that everything on the car is right. So there you have it, the top 10 tips for how to buy a Tesla Model X. The checklist, the view only, and the community edit where you can contribute to it are in the hyperlinks down below. And don't forget to follow us and subscribe. Thank you very much.